Good morning. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker, Pastor Courtney Meadows. Pastor Meadows is a 25-year-old emerging 25th century leader, gifted gospel preacher, empowerment speaker, and flame igniter. Although anointed by God while in the womb of his mother, Pastor Meadows affirmed his call to ministry at age 6 and has since devoted his life into empowering mankind. He is widely known as an old soul for his powerful presentation of wisdom and hope that appeals to the young and old. The grace of God on the life of Pastor Meadows has allowed him to travel throughout the United States as well as the continent of Africa. One of the world's youngest pastors, Pastor Meadows is both honored and humbled to serve as senior pastor and overseer of First Missionary Baptist Church in Whitehall, Alabama, and Victory Through Faith Worship Center in Montgomery, Alabama. He is the founder and chief igniting officer of Igniting the Flame Ministries, a ministry established to encourage, equip, and empower believers to creatively reach their least, last, and lost with daily devotional broadcasts which engages hundreds through social media. Additionally, Pastor Meadows is a new gospel recording artist and recently released his first single entitled Ignite Your Flame in October 2018. Pastor Meadows is a firm believer in community and youth empowerment. He is the executive director of Higher Vision 2000 Incorporated, a community development organization that provides educational enhancement and cultural opportunities to the youth of Lowndes County, Alabama. He is also the founding member and coordinator of student programs for the Southern Youth Leadership Development Institute. Pastor Meadows is honored to serve as a chaplain and faith coach to the Alabama State University football team and coaching staff. He is the advisor and member of the Board of Directors for community organizations, including the Cleveland Avenue YMCA, Say No Incorporated, Gateway Youth Empowerment Outreach, and the Alabama Cooperative Extension Systems of Lowndes County. He has received honors and awards of distinction from the Montgomery alumni chapters of Alpha Fraternity Incorporated and Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, Lowndes County School District, Alabama State University, Fine Arts Department, Key Productions, Southern Youth Leadership Development Institute, and others. Pastor Meadows is a native of Montgomery, Alabama. He is a family-oriented and believes that we must live practical and balanced lives with one focus: glory to God. As we inspire one another, please join me in welcoming Pastor Meadows to the podium.
Good morning to each of you.
Good morning.
Let's try that again. Good morning to each of you.
Good morning.
This is the day that the Lord has made, and we rejoice and we are glad in it. Will you join me in giving the Lord a hand clap of praise? Mere words cannot articulate how great of an honor it is to be here with you on today. I'm honored to be in the presence of one who over a decade has been a personal mentor and friend of mine. We salute the president of this fine university, Dr. Quinton Ross, his family. We are thankful for the wonderful administration that assists him, all of the faculty and staff, the student leaders and the student body of this university, as well as members of my immediate family, members of my church family, members of my football family. I want to salute our ASU Hornet football team, Coach Ely, his staff, all of the football players, to the community at large. This is an amazing day. We join with millions across this state, millions across this nation, millions across this world. All over this land, people salute the great work, the life, and the legacy of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. In many ways, as we think of the great accomplishments, enormous progress that we have been able to make as a result of his life, his vision, his work, not alone, but with so many others, we've come a long way. We are here today standing on their shoulders. But I think we can all agree as we tackle this topic, understanding the fierce urgency of now, we have a long way to go. We are still faced with many challenges as Dr. King and generations even before him were faced with. We are faced with the criminal justice system that is in need of massive reforms. We are faced with communities that are in great need of economic empowerment. We are faced with the need for continued efforts to ensure affordable health care for all. We need to strengthen our educational system, not only for our pre-K and elementary and middle and high school, but even college. I'm sure all of us can agree that we need to make college more affordable for all. Why do you say that, Pastor? Because after going through all of the labor of securing our degree, we need to be able to enjoy the profits of our career without simply paying back student loans. We've got to create more jobs. We've got to revive confidence in our government. If you haven't checked the news lately, we've got to revive confidence in our government who struggles to simply tell small truth. We've got to preserve the rights of all humans, regardless of the differences that they may have and preferences that they may have that we may not approve of. We've got to provide a clear path to citizenship for those coming into our nation, even into our state, knowing that our forefathers came into this nation both voluntarily and many involuntarily. And unfortunately, we have a president in the White House that is so overly consumed with building a wall instead of bridges that he is willing to shut down the government, which is affecting over 800,000 workers and thousands of others who depend on quality social services. And you may be sitting here under the sound of my voice asking, why should that matter to us? Why does it matter to us as college students? It matters because Dr. King and others who made great impact through the civil rights movement, they were our age. They were part of our age range as they began to sense the clarion call, the fierce urgency of now. And they decided we cannot wait, we must act now. In fact, I am here today because at the age of 6, I heard God's fierce urgency of now. He called me to preach, and at the age of 19, I began my pastoral journey. And I am here today to encourage you as college students and even as the community. We must hear the fierce urgency of now and begin to make progress. As we have come a long way, we must move forward into our marvelous future. As we now hear the fierce urgency of now, with all of these urgent concerns facing us, it begins with every single person under the sound of my voice discovering how unique you are. You see, it was Dr. King who said, no one really knows why they are alive until they know what they died for. It's important to find something so valuable to yourself. It's important that you find something that you're so passionate about, that you look within and discover the gifts and the talents that you were born in and begin to work on strengthening them, refining them, and giving it your absolute best to make a difference in this world. It's Dr. King who said, everybody can be great because anybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and verb agree to serve. You only need a heart full of grace, a soul generated by love. It is important that as we go back to discovering what we are here to do, that every day we wake up understanding how unique and special we are. Take those gifts and talents and give it all that you have. Dr. King said, if the lot falls upon you to be a street sweeper, you should sweep streets even as Michelangelo painted, or Beethoven composed music, or Shakespeare wrote poetry. He should sweep streets so well that all of the hosts of heaven and earth will pause to say, here lived a great street sweeper who did his job well. What am I saying? Give it all you have. Do your best. And that is the beginning in hearing this fierce urgency of now clarion call, but understanding even more, you can't do it by yourself. None of the progress that we have made as a people, as a society, was accomplished solely by Dr. King. He worked with individuals with the common goal to make a greater difference. You know, Dr. King said, we are caught in this inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. This is the interrelated structure of reality. What Dr. King was saying is that we are all related. We are tied together. And the problem of our society is that we've become so caught up in being our best selves. We've been so caught up in this idea of individuality that we've forgotten those who are around us. We must reclaim our sense of community. We must reclaim our sense of unity. Even as you are here on this college campus, you must understand that if you are rising to the top, but no one is there with you, that's a lonely journey. But when I help you and you help me, we will begin to see each and every person in this world become successful, and we will see ourselves moving forward into the place that Dr. King envisioned. Dr. King put it simply as this: we must learn to live together as brothers or perish together as fools. At the heart of our nation's problem is not so much of equal pay, gender inequality, not so much of the external problems that we see on the news and in the newspapers. It begins within. Our nation has a heart problem. Our nation has a love problem. And so I encourage you in this room to begin to love again. You can't move forward into the fierce urgency of now holding on to the hurt of yesterday. Move forward. Allow God to heal you. Allow God to heal us so that we can achieve the greatness. Dr. King had this amazing way of working with individuals. He wasn't just a magnificent messenger. He was a master mobilizer. He wasn't just a prolific preacher and prophet. He was an excellent planner. We see over 50 years ago individuals who were leaders of the NAACP, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, and leaders and individuals from other organizations. They put their resources and abilities together, and that's why we were able to see the massive change that has gotten us to where we are today. Dr. Dr. King said, I do think there must be a centralized leadership in the sense that say in our struggle, all of the leaders coordinate their efforts, cooperate, and at least evince a degree of unity. What would happen on this campus if all of the leaders of organizations got together and wanted to make ASU a better place? What if all of the pastors of churches and community organizations got together? What a difference we could make. Dr. King knew that success required a strategy. Haven't asked you to do this, but look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, success requires a strategy. We are here in Montgomery, where Montgomery has shown the world that success required a strategy. Montgomery had a strategy. Over 380 days they carpooled. They refused to ride the city buses, and they made a difference because success requires a strategy. Selma had a strategy. They said, we're not going to let anyone turn us around. They were determined to make it not only across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, they were determined to make it to Montgomery, to make a statement to the nation, to make a statement to the world, because success requires a strategy. You do know I'm a preacher, and the Bible does show us instances where success had a strategy. You remember the children of Israel? When they wanted the Jericho walls to fall down, they implemented a strategy. Marched around the walls 6 days, 6 times. On the 7th day, let out a shout, and the walls came tumbling down. Jesus and his disciples, with 5,000 hungry men, not including the women and the children, they developed a strategy. As loaves and fish came down from heaven, they made everyone sit down in groups, and everyone was fed, including those that served the meal, because success requires a strategy. So if success requires a strategy, what will be ours? With strategy, there is success. There's this moment where we can work together to see a better tomorrow. Dr. King had this view of a great utopia, a beloved community, a place where people were working together and praying together and achieving and attaining greatness together. Most times when we hear of utopia, we think of something out there, never really achievable in a real world. But Dr. King's beloved community was for him a realistic, achievable goal that could be attained by a critical mass of people committed to and trained in the philosophy and methods of nonviolence. Dr. King's utopia was based in the faith that where they were at that present time was not the end of their story. He said, my brothers and my sisters, in spite of the difficulties and frustrations of the moment, I still have a dream. He had a dream about this nation. He saw this nation living up to the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. He saw Georgia as a place where sons of former slaves and sons of former slave owners would be able to sit down at the table of brotherhood. He saw Mississippi as an oasis of freedom and justice. He saw his 4 little children as being judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And yes, he saw Alabama too. He saw Alabama as a place where little black boys and little black girls could walk together with little white boys and little white girls as brothers and sisters. Now, brothers and sisters, if we're going to reach our future beyond this now moment with the urgency of now, but excited and looking forward to with faith what awaits us in the next, we must have faith. Look at somebody and say, you got to have faith. Dr. King did not have this sitting in the reclining chair or on the sofa type faith. He had a radical get up and make something happen faith. He said, with this faith, we will be able to hew out of the mountain of despair a stone of hope. With this faith, we will be able to transform the jangle and discords of our nation into a beautiful symphony of brotherhood. With this faith, we'll be able to work together, to pray together, to struggle together, to go to jail together, to stand up for freedom together, knowing that one day we will be free. I don't know about you today, but I have that faith. That faith to believe that if we work in the fierce urgency of now, through undying faith and determination, we will see the promised land. So I leave you today with the words of that movement song, we shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. But I love the next verse. God is on our side. God is on our side today. Deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. I encourage you, let's keep working. If you can't fly, as Dr. King said, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. Move forward in the fierce urgency of now.
Thank you, Pastor Meadows, for your timely and inspiring message. Please know that your message will resonate with us today and moving forward. And on behalf of Alabama State University, we would like to present you with this small token of appreciation as you continue your work in our local communities. We want to ensure that you always remember Oh Mother Dear. It has been an honor to serve as MC this morning. As we prepare to bring our convocation to a close, we should be mindful that these type of events do not occur without assistance from our campus community. Thank you again to Pastor Meadows, as well as our program participants, musical guests, and our Littlest Hornets. I want to thank all of you for attending. There are a number of former and current ASU executive leaders and Board of Trustee members, friends of ASU, area members, former national, local leaders, and members of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and members of the local community who took time out to join us. Would you please stand at this time so you can be recognized? Likewise, I want to thank all of the behind-the-scenes support, including operations and events management, the President's Office, Public Safety, our wonderful Golden Ambassadors, University Marketing and Divisions of Academic Affairs and Student Affairs, and Enrollment Management. Time prevents me from calling everyone's name, but please note that the university's leadership team and I sincerely thank you. You will now hear closing remarks from our 15th University President, Dr. Quinton T. Ross Jr., followed by the singing of the first verse of our alma mater, Alabama State, Oh Mother Dear. Again, these words can be found in the back of your programs.
Wow. Wow. Let's give Pastor Courtney Meadows another round of applause. Pastor Meadows, thank you for that powerful message. And for those of you that don't know, I have known him since he was 6. And he's been a mentor of mine for a long time. And we're just so proud of you, and thank you for sharing on this great day with us. Again, welcome to all of you to the Alabama State University. And Pastor, it was yesterday I spoke at Auburn, but you hit a key point, the fierce urgency of now. And that keeps in line with the time is now. Here at Alabama State, for all that you're doing, all of your work, all of your effort to become positive contributors to society, the fierce urgency of now. And he shared that with us. Please, another round of applause. Also, as I spoke in Auburn yesterday, I was reminded of the fact that this is always a special time to me. Always reminding me that 6 months after the assassination of Dr. King, I was born. And to realize that there was a man and a few good people that were working for justice and equality for those yet unborn. It just sends chills down your spine. Because when you look at where you are, when you look at the accomplishments and the station that you have in life, it is because a few good men and women decided to work for children yet unborn. And for that, it's to be remembered and celebrated. Because none of us got where we are by ourselves, Pastor. As you said, people working together. It was a strategy. And so this day is not just a day that we relax, or the celebration is not just a day that we just go through the motions. We have to take it to heart. And so I want to thank the Office of Student Affairs, everyone who had their hand in putting together this wonderful program, because we have work to do. And I believe that it can be done with a strategy. And we have to work together. So thank you again. Recognizing all of our special guests, I have to say, Ms. Hinton, those children, let's give them a round of applause. Because again, what we do today and the difference that we make is for them. Because they too will come behind us. They too will remember to celebrate the life and the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King, and some of you who will be great contributors to society. But they did a marvelous job, and we're just so proud of them. Give them another round of applause. Mr. Brock and Value Crossing, the gentlemen, if you all will please stand. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Mrs. Gretz. Mrs. Gretz is here, and we have living history here at Alabama State University. She and her husband, Pastor Gretz, dear friends of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and his family. And she's here with us and supports us tremendously. We love you and thank you for being here at Alabama State University. And listen, now, Alphas, I thought the Alphas had taken over. Then I remembered that the Q was in charge. But let me say to Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated and Mr. Brown and you all that have put this program together, and we know that Dr. King was a great Alpha man. And we are thankful for you all and your organization and for all that you do to be great contributors to this society. And regardless of the colors that we wear, we know that we are brothers. We know that we work together for the betterment of the community. And I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize Mr. Lee Jenkins, who's here. Please stand. The area director of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. And we want to thank you for being here. And I do like the jackets. I'm just going to put a purple emblem, purple jacket, you know. But no, really, we're just so proud of what you do and how you represent. And thank you all again for the fine job that you are doing. Again, I want to thank all of you for being here at this Dr. Martin Luther King Convocation. Thank you for being so attentive, students. Make sure that you walk away with something. Make sure you really reflect on the words that Pastor Meadows has spoken to us today. And I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize Pastor Meadows' mother and his sister here. You all, please stand. And thank you so much. And it's for all of the special guests that are here that are visiting from the community. This is what we call Communiversity. Everyone is welcome here at the Alabama State University. And we will continue to have great audiences and functions such as this here, and so continue to participate.